What's going on, everybody? Landon here, back with Home Service Business Coach Podcast with David Mormon, who is on my right or your left for those watching and for those listening. Dave, how are we doing today?
Let's do it, brother. We're doing a double header today.
We are doing a double header, and we got a under talked about, but probably like the backbone of any business, whether you're doing 100,000 a year or doing 100 million a year. That's systems.
Yeah.
And I find it quite often because something here at Home Service Business Coach we preach about all the time is our systems and our playbooks, right? Our playbooks, we're going to build, our team's going to build out your marketing, sales, hiring playbooks on your brand colors and everything like that. Value on that, we value it at minimum $10,000. It pays for itself as soon as you join the program.
Yeah.
But I got this question, and I didn't get this question often. It was so good. Yeah. And somebody's like, I've been following you guys for 2 years, and I don't know what you mean by systems. And I'm like, you know what? I think we need to film a podcast on that.
That's on us, brother.
Yeah, because I mean, we throw this word around: system, systematize your business, automate. You hear automation, and then it's like, well, is that AI? And there's so much confusion around systems, especially what we do here at Home Service Business Coach. So Dave, I wanted to take the next 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, dive into this. What do we mean by systems? How do we create these things? What are the benefits? What's the impact?
Sure.
So Dave, from the horse's mouth itself, when you hear the word systems, what goes through your mind?
Systems equal life. Literally on our last episode, Lan and I are filming, and our dog walker comes through the window right here.
Yep.
We wave at him. He's going picking up Charlie because today is Thursday, and Charlie gets picked up every Thursday at about 9:15 and goes, and she'll be back around 2:30. Goes to doggy day camp, rips around, high energy dog. That's a system. It's all set up. I don't have to think about it. It's set up. So a system is something that happens more than once. So if you get in a car accident today, God forbid, that's not really a system. That's just a one-off, an unfortunate event that happened and hopefully doesn't happen again. When something is recurring, this cup of coffee, I went out and got it. This is a new system we've created. Beckham and I now go out. We're on a little streak now. My wife was keeping track. I think this is day 6.
Yep.
We go out every morning after breakfast. We bumped into you at the you were yesterday. At the gym. I'm buying coffee, but that's besides the point. That's your system.
Yep.
We go and grab a coffee and come back home. That's a system. So a system is something that you repeatedly do over and over again. There's life systems in your personal life, and there's systems in business.
And I love that you made that distinction between, it almost seems like the life systems, they're habits, but taken to another level. And that habit taken to another level, it can be so simple as, I don't know if Starbucks, you're allowed to do this, but on their app, if you want to buy a coffee, if you know you're going to be at the coffee shop at 9 a.m. every single day, Monday through Friday, I don't know if Starbucks can do it.
Probably will, though. That's great.
You know what I mean? It's almost like how Apple came out with their text message where you can set a text to go out on a certain time within the next 14 days. Starbucks should maybe roll something out like that. But it's just like, when I get in my car, I'm going to order my coffee because I know within 5 minutes I get there. Not only is it sitting there waiting for me, I waste no time doing that. But number 2, the 105 degree Fahrenheit has dropped to 90, which means I can start drinking it right away and get the caffeine boost, whatever the system is. And then when it comes to the business side of things, we've always joked about this. A system, we define it as anything that saves yourself time, energy, and money. It's a nice little acronym. And in a business context, it really comes down to that repeatable process, those repeatable things you do in and day out. There can be leadership systems, there can be marketing systems, and everything is going to be kind of tailored. An example of that, Dave, on a marketing system is, what do your crews do after they complete a job?
100%.
Yep. And then on the hiring side of things, it could be, what does your crew do? Or maybe this is ops. What does your crew do in order to complete each and every single job broken down to the list?
Yeah.
And again, we can go through, I mean, this is what we do.
Let's do more, man. That's a job site checklist. And for us, that's like the freaking Bible in our business. Every single job, here's a 10-step process. How do you clean a window, right? We wash tens of thousands of windows per year. I should probably count that up. It'd be a cool stat to know. How we wash each one. Are we using a water-fed pole? If so, this is our system. Yep. If we're hand cleaning, scrubber, squeegee, this is our system. And we have a system for how we run our production team meetings. Our techs come together. Every second Monday, we all go out for coffee and breakfast. I have a 4-point system. It's in our training of how I run that meeting, from what I start with to what we end with. I don't always know what will necessarily get said in the middle, but there's a structure there. There's a process. So it's really important that you don't glaze past systems and say they're boring or they're unnecessary. Like if you want more freedom, more time, and more money in your life, you'll take systems seriously.
Oh yeah. And again, another thing that pops into mind is on a marketing front, it's lead nurturing, right? If we know, I hear a lot of times, I'm a great salesperson. I'm like, dude, I love that. You probably have a system. And here's the catch-22. Most of you probably have a quarter of the systems we offered, but it's all up here. And Dave, I know that in a local Starbucks here, Starbucks, the theme of maybe this podcast, they should sponsor it. But the amount of times that I would go to Starbucks to grab a coffee or read or something like that a few years ago, I ran into Dave all the friggin' time. And I'm like, I didn't really think about it at the time, but looking back on it, I'm like, dude, hold on. It was like Tuesday at X amount of time or whatever it was. I know your days are Saturdays, but I would see him there all the time. And I'm like, this guy has his laptop out. Yeah. Hold on. Isn't he running a business? How the hell is he running a business from the laptop? Yeah. And it was, Dave, tell the people what the heck you were doing.
Well, it's system building, right? I tell everybody, I built the entire cleaning business from a table at Starbucks here out in South Surrey where we live, like literally the table by the window. My wife would go off to work as a nurse early and I would have 2 hours every morning. And I mean, every morning, less Sundays, like before the phone would start ringing. So I would be building out effectively the playbooks that our members get now. Like a lot of those version 1.0 was built at that table at Starbucks, which is just crazy. And I think people underestimate, like one thing I think I do good in home service, why I've had some success is because I didn't come from a technical background. I always approached it as a business person, as a sales, as a marketer first. And I think someone who has an attraction for business, their head will naturally go to people and processes. So I'm always just thinking, we had a screw up in our business. What's the process that got broken? And I should take that to my table at Starbucks and redo it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's almost like a system is anything that saves myself time that I'm repeatedly doing. I think I counted it up and maybe I'm wrong. There's about a minimum of 20 different systems per department of the business. Yeah. Like that's again, bare freaking bones minimum. Again, if you don't have that, cash flow issues, hiring issues, leads issues, it probably all comes down to this, that you have the end goal in mind and then you have your current process of what you're doing pretty much. And then a system is filling that hole, essentially.
And usually the system, it's a hub and spoke model where the hub is the owner and they have all these spokes that lead to them, right? And I've seen this play out with friends of mine. They're running large businesses and they're literally, their staff's calling for, what's the alarm code for this? Where's the key to the truck? Where's this for that? Yeah. I'm like, no, these are all breach systems that got messed up. Literally, man, from when we got to like 4 crews at Revive, I had all of our techs just paying for fuel on their own card and we would reimburse them. And it sounds funny now, man, but I'm like, where does a place exist I can get fuel cards? I got this company. I ordered a bunch of them. And today, all of our techs go to the same gas station. They fill up and we pay the thing off every 2 weeks. That's a system. Yes. Saves so much time in this case. I saved my energy. Oh, I forgot to reimburse Sam for his $85 gas fill up. Oh, now he's out money and it's Mickey Mouse system. Yep. So again, like I can't stress, like it's countless how many systems are in each department and in your life. And most listeners right now, to call you out, you probably have chaotic life systems in your personal life and you probably have chaotic business systems. They usually go one and the same.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Right. And this kind of ties into you've already touched on the benefits of just like putting systems into your business, but also your personal life, right? And this comes to with it's the new year. I want to really crush my goals, where you're going to have to put some systems in place to rewire some of the wiring in your brain to think differently. And the same applies to your business. The same applies to employees. And it's another common question. Landon, I'm doing 800,000, doing $1 million, doing beyond that, doing 2 million. We didn't put systems into place. So you either pay the price now or you pay the price later. Speaking with a couple, 18 years in business, $2 million business. trying to put systems in place. Well, they've had people working with them for 15 years.
That's crazy, man.
But they can't rewire.
Yeah,
then there's a conflict of interest. And then guess what happens? They drop off.
You're better closing that business, in my opinion, and just building out a new one with systems. Like, I just don't know another way, because with Revive, the year we did 89 grand our first year, I got to work building systems, and then
from the get-go.
Yep. And now we're doing more than that in a month, just because of systems. So that's just what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. If you want to scale chaos and get to $1 million, it might take you a decade to do that. And you might have good income, but you're not going to have your time.
Yes.
So the fast pass at Disneyland to buy back that time is all around your systems.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
All right, everyone, wanted to take a super quick 1-minute break in the show to tell you about an opportunity. We get a lot of people coming to us say, how can you help me grow our business? Well, here's the thing. There's really two main ways. Number one is our HSBC Accelerator program. This is for businesses that are 0 to 30K a month and want to get their hands on some coaching and templated systems to grow their business. Well, our second program is our Scaling Blueprint coaching program. And that's once your business is at 30K a month and you want to grow to 50 or 100K months, but you want to do it with our specialized one-on-one coaching, then the Scaling Blueprint is going to be the program for you. I've linked them up both below, so you can go ahead and check out what the accelerator is all about, and you can check out about getting on a call with our team to see if you're going to be a fit for Scaling Blueprint. Either way, enjoy our free resources and come join us in one of our paid programs when you're ready to get serious about growing your business.
And again, we're seeing a lot of people retiring from the trade space, right? We're seeing a big gap in the trade space, and we filmed the Jobber podcast about this too. It's so great, the report, if you haven't seen it. It's also creating though, like, let's say you've been in business 25 years, 30 years. Let's say you're doing $1 million. Mm-hmm. Somebody might come and say, hey man, I have $1 million. I want to buy you out.
Yeah.
You're not getting $1 million because your revenue. They're going to look and say, you have a couple of contracts which are worth 200 grand. Okay, there's money that's locked in through your contracts. Yeah. You have some crews. I'll spend 50K. Yeah. I know how to do them. I don't really need to pay you and your crews. Yeah. And then I have a client base list, which I still have to work. And you have a GMB. We'll put everything at 400,000. Yeah. And you as the owner are like, what the hell? I thought this was worth $1 million. If you have the systems, it increases the sellability of your business to come. Yeah,
and it reduces key man or key woman syndrome as well, right? And that's the thing. You might get 400 grand, but I read a stat. It was like over 80% of small businesses transact with seller-based financing, which is if I came to buy your business, you would actually finance me and I would pay you on the cash flow of the business. It all sounds good, but in an uncertain economic environment as a seller, I would rather be in that 15% minority that actually gets paid up front.
Yeah.
Secondarily, that owner usually needs to stay on for a transitionary period, which you're basically like donating your time at that point for free to see the sale through. So it's just like, it's really tough. And any business I've had, even with HSBC now, man, we have playbooks for our coaching team, like how to actually run an effective coaching call, how to coach a member who's being difficult, literally systems around what we say when we get a Google review. What does that reply say? Like, that's the level of depth you can go to. And so I think an owner watching this for a home service business, you automatically signed up for, I would say, a moderately complex business to route your truck or your trucks to people's most prized possession. There's a lot of money on the line. The stakes are high. The emotions are high. If you show up without systems to try execute that, you're just asking for problems, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I want to share a story that kind of really drives this home, right? I'll kind of leave the name unsaid, just for simplicity's sake. Speaking with this gentleman 2 years ago, doing about 90,000 in revenue. Our average guy comes to us around 190 from what our dad indicates. So he was a little bit less than that. And I remember him telling me about how he wanted to take his family on a vacation. I believe it was the Dominican Republic. I could be wrong in that, but it was, in and around that area. And then I saw he joined up with us 2 years later. He's at multiple six figures, multiple six figures, but his profit has grown. It's this holy trifecta we see. We see revenue increase, we see profitability, percentage-wise increase, and then also too, the time decreases. And that's the big kicker, systems. So much so that this gentleman, you might have saw him on Facebook as well too, he's posting pictures of his family on that vacation he wanted to do 2 years ago. And it's not because he got better equipment. It's not because he saved all his money to pay off taxes or whatever the heck the thing is. It was because he implemented systems into his business. Right to that point, systems, people, and processes. Without those two things, he isn't in the Dominican Republic with his family in busy season while his guys are completing work with minimal headache.
Yeah.
Not trying to paint once you put a systems in, everything's rainbows and butterflies here. But that is the difference on a real practical level systems can provide for you.
Yeah, and I think as soon as you put them in, man, you start seeing glimpses of like butterflies and rainbows. It's not constant. Like for this member, I know exactly what you're talking about. For him to go and stay in the Dominican for a month, I think some wheels would fall off in the business. But for him to go for a week or 10 days with the family, have his cruise keep going, absolutely. And like if you're just watching 30 seconds of this podcast and you want to fix your business, get out of the fulfillment, doing the stuff, and get out of the office. And I want to talk about this for a sec, Landon, because we've clearly identified, we had our vision planning meeting as a team, our very two clear avatars we have at HSBC. One, we have the lifestyle entrepreneur. Why don't you unpack that one and I'll do the second one. So what does the lifestyle entrepreneur want? Yeah,
we usually have two people come with us, and that lifestyle entrepreneur, number one, they want to hit, that $500,000 in revenue. They want a trustable, dependable team that they can rely on in place. They want to have good lead flow, but they want to have these systems to, again, provide them the lifestyle they currently don't have. That could be 10 to 15 hours per week. That's kind of entrepreneur number one. And then the second is what we call, I guess, our empire entrepreneur.
Yeah, I love that. And quickly on the lifestyle, they want to hit about $500,000 top line, and they want to make like a 6-figure income.
Yes, 100 to 150. Yep. Give or take, again, all depending, that 100 to 150K, all depending on you. Really, the onus is on you, on your location. There's so many variables that you and I cannot control. But at the end of the day, 6 figures is bare minimum on revenue, income at least.
Empire builder number two. These are the big boys, the big girls. They want to scale up. They want to hit 7 figures, but they want to also blow past that. They're thinking, multi-territory. Some of their favorite content we put on our interviews. We just had one with like multiple locations.
How much revenue was one of his?
Yeah, one of his brands was doing $8 million a month. Like that's just the where it's like $500,000. We do that in 2 days, right? That's the level that an empire builder can get to. And usually an empire builder will be thinking, how could I actually buy a physical location for my home service business? I can own the dirt, and I can lease out to this to my company to be the operating company. They're thinking real estate rentals. They might even be thinking, I heard the acronym PJ, right? I'm like, what? I was telling my wife, like, what's a PJ? A private jet. I learned yesterday in my group that's a PJ. They all knew what it was. I never knew what it was. So they're thinking maybe get their own plane. And it's not that the stuff matters or the dollar matters. It's just that's the mindset they have. They're the empire. They're not celebrating on Friday night that cheers to the weekend and we can kick. They're like, man, Saturday, like I get to get up early, do a little bit of work, slip in a workout, and then I get to, hang out with my kids, and then I get to go do this thing. Like that's who you are if you're one of those.
Absolutely. And I was speaking with a gentleman who owns a very well-established handyman, high 6 figures, again, wanting to grow to $100 million. I asked him this question and he actually emailed me back. You never know what's going to stand out to people. And I was like, man, what you're looking for is what a $20 million business operates. You need what a $2 million business operates. It's almost like, again, that classic type, put the cart before the horse, because he'd been looking for a solution for the last 6 months. But here's the thing. If you want to really grow to that point, you're not spending $6K, $10K to do that. You're spending 6 figures, if not more, most likely more, to find those things, to be mentored one-to-one, to have. And again, if you're spending $100,000, it's literally an systems integrator you can have full-time in your company at that point. So he emailed me back and he was like, I think you're 100% right. Nobody's told me that. Is exactly what I needed to hear. Nice. And we're in conversations right now to further his growth and development and coming on board with us. Those are the two individuals here. Now, the premise, I don't care if you want to go option A, lifestyle, option 2, empire builder, you got to have systems. And the chances you have, again, bare bones, think in 6 different departments of your company. Do I have at least 20 different systems? Like that?
Probably not. Most people wouldn't.
Yeah, no, most people wouldn't. And 20 systems is like, Man, we're like, that bar is like about right here.
Yeah, like a 2 out of 10. And like the thing is, man, I want to like see context with this too, that I've been doing this for 16 years, right? And I've been systematizing for about 7 years now. Like I totaled it up. I'm about 8,000 hours in like building these systems. And again, I just benefit from a really analytical brain that I'm like, I'm not going to do that twice. Like there's this better way. There's a simpler way to do this. So I think just the lowest get to first base most listeners can do is exactly what you said. Find your departments, get to about 20 systems. And we've even found for our busy contractors now that we've just found more benefit in us building them out for them.
Which is exactly what we do.
Because like you could listen to this podcast 100 times and I could give you our systems checklist and you would still say, okay, for an inbound call script, like I'd rather just pay to have someone to build it. And we say, oh, we'll go on Upwork or Fiverr and hire someone. No, you won't. Like you want to hit that easy button, get it done. And that's where we plugged in. Cool. Your business you're now paying, we're going to build the systems for it. Yeah. Here you go. Investment back and then some. And now we're going to coach you to put them into your business.
Yeah, literally. The thing is, well, too, and I've heard this, I'm going to use ChatGPT and AI and stuff like that. It's like, I got an email recently and I'm like, holy crap, this person didn't even edit it. And it was actually from a local cleaner here. I don't know how I got my email, but he just literally ChatGPT. Yeah. Google will ban your business if you use ChatGPT content. Customers are able to identify if you use ChatGPT or not. And the third thing AI hasn't actually done, when you say write an SOP for a window script or a window cleaning, how do I clean a bathtub? Again, insert your service. We can't drive this enough. Insert your service. The thing that ChatGPT has never done and never will do is the actual work.
Yeah.
So you can go down that route. Again, it's all in the YouTube podcast free route. Or there's the option, if we decide to work with you, of, hey, Dave, are these systems tried and true? Well, Landon, let me tell you, we've worked with 320 plus business owners. We've generated over 30 million with these. I personally use these. And the big thing I think we do good here at HSBC is we practice what we preach and what we teach in a business sense. And then we take that business sense and apply it into relationships, health, and every single aspect of our entire lives.
Yeah. 100%. One other key system and to hit on, like, of course, we hit on the 20 in each department. I think the big system the listeners need to hear is their system around their time. And I really feel that's one that, you know, if you look at a busy entrepreneur building a let's just say a cleaning business, they need to have some sort of system around their time in that where's the rhythms for your week, right? Yeah. And I'll just share with this for me, when I was growing the company, for me, it was like Tuesdays and Thursdays. That was my system. Like those were my selling days. So like put on, you don't always see me in a collared shirt. So you put on a collared shirt and I'm going and selling on those days, right? Monday was our team meeting. Yeah. Wednesday, I would meet with my office team. And then Fridays was open. I would do, grab some Starbucks, go meet a local landscaper, grab some Chipotle for lunch. They'd be an open day that I could kind of, grow the business in kind of different ways. But having those different buckets was huge for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that ties into, setting aside family time. You hear it all the time. You prioritize what you value most. And the hard, cold reality is that a lot of you don't value your time nearly as much, and you value your dollar. And again, we said this in the previous podcast. If you value your penny more, you're not going to have enough pennies to go around. And when it comes to systems, like, it can be hard to wrap your brain around, right? And I hope you've actually taken some real tangible pieces of information of, what a system is, right? The big thing is, what's your desire? What are you currently doing? What's the gap? That needs to be filled, and that can be applied to any department of your business as well as any aspect of your life. And it's something that, again, it is the big difference between your revenue growing, your profit increasing, and also your time in the business decreasing. But I want to share a story from another member who came on board, been with us around 9 months. Mm-hmm. I just found out he's in Colombia.
Wow. And
he lives there, I believe, full time now. And this gentleman was from the Pacific Northwest, interior cleaning. And he worked at the arena down there, where the Seahawks play. I'm blanking on where they play.
Quest.
Yes, Quest.
Yeah, okay.
he was working there at Quest Arena in the kind of the media department and stuff like that. So his goal was, I got to get away from this. I want to scale my cleaning business, but I ultimately don't want to be in Seattle anymore, but this is kind of paying for me. We just fast forward 9 months from now, because of people and processes he's put into place, his revenue has ballooned, but he is in Colombia. And the question I want to ask again, could you do that? Yes, you have family, and I understand that. You young guys, could you move to Colombia and have your business still run without you?
Wow.
People and processes. Another individual I want to talk to you about. Spoke with him again last year, met him for the first time. We both did at our summit. Absolute legend. When we first spoke with him, he was running a mid 6-figure business, I would say. At the start, been doing it for 20 plus years, like super experienced, but was coming home and his wife was like, I don't want to talk business with you. I want to talk family. There's more to life than business. But he just, how do I get this thing better? Dave, you have an update with him.
Yeah, I mean, it was all this member ever knew, right? Was just, he had his business and he was a cleaning business and he was making pretty good money, man. Like, I think...
He was like 20 real estate properties or condos
really,
and stuff.
Yeah, like big investor. But like, his cleaning business was always around like 400-ish grand, of which he'd make like 120 grand, which is nothing wrong with that. But he didn't have his time. And so he came to us, Landon, about 1.5 years ago. And he prepaid for the program, which is always a good sign of someone committing to their own success. And he turned up. He was on the coaching calls. We met him in Vancouver for the summit, and I just had my my war plan call with him maybe a month ago now, and his revenue this year grew about 150K, which is like good. But the thing is, man, he made slightly more money on the bottom line, which is great. So he's still hitting his goals for his family commitment. But here's the kicker, man. He's literally, he told me 5 to 10 hours a week right now. So much so, excuse me, that he likes working outside. You know, I can't bond with him on that, but he loves doing like landscaping and like cutting down trees and like just likes that type of stuff. So that's the stuff like he's doing now around his property. And he's got his time back. He literally took his family to Europe as well. Speaking of vacation, I know we touched on our other member going to Dominican. This member took his family to Europe. He's coming back to Summit. So it's like, it doesn't always need to be this story of like rip and grip. I like grew revenue, 200% and this and that. Like in this case, slight increase of revenue, but he didn't even have an office manager in place, put that in. And then one of his guys, he promoted to be more of an operations like supervisor to deal with a lot of the field work. So now our member is free, and we don't ever want to preach like this 2-hour work week, do nothing, because you still own the business. But his income, his revenue grew slightly. His net profit grew slightly, but his time grew massively.
Did the holy trifecta of what we do here.
And he signed on for another year. So it's just like, that's the thing with us. We want to make renewals be such a no-brainer that you're like, man, what I paid for this program and what I got. You know, you could ask his spouse, did this program make your marriage better? I'm guessing it's a yes. And we're not proclaiming that's going to be a thing. But what usually happens when a spouse is around more physically and has more of their time and their mental bandwidth, do you not think that's probably going to help your marriage like a little bit?
It's kind of a cascading effect. It's that butterfly effect. So the big thing with systems, let's just recap on what we've talked about. One, you need them if you don't have them. A good first bar is minimum 20 systems in each department of your business. That I can't stress how minimal that is. So the question becomes, do you have that? Okay. Second thing is where you want to be, where you're at right now. The gap is a system that needs to be created. Okay. The third thing is it's going to take a lot of time if you're going to go about it on your own. It'll take you literally 10 times longer than any one of our members because it's all provided to you. And we even build it out with your logo, brand colors. Just give all that stuff to us. Pictures, we love those. We'll give it all. We'll build it all for you. It's probably going to take you 10 times longer. You're going to have 12 times harder, and you're probably going to make 14 times less revenue than you could have. It's not costing you a lot. I'll say that.
And you have to
That was a
hire
joke.
your own assistant, graphic designer, copywriter.
There's so much.
That's
Your
the thing.
time instantly increases in the business. Like Dave, we added it up. I think you spent 8,000 hours
8,000
of your time creating that. And it's like, do you want to spend 8,000 hours? Maybe with AI, you cut it down to 4,000 hours. That's 4,000 hours. 1, 2, you have no idea. We've already touched about the implications of using AI. You have no idea if it's actually good or good or bad system. You have no test bracket. Now you got to go test it. You're going to have to reiterate something. And you're like, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. You eventually reach your ceiling, your cap, and then you have to look outside of your normal realms.
Yeah. I'll say one last thing too, man. And this is something that a mentor of mine told me back in the day. He had this famous quote, and you may have heard it. He said, your business is already perfectly calibrated with systems to get the chosen result. And it's just like all your businesses right now, the owner listening who has a window cleaning business in Nashville, Tennessee, that's doing 84 grand this year, your business is already systematized. Landon hit on it in today's session. It's just the systems live in your head.
Yeah.
They haven't come down to your Google Workspace or to paper or to video. They're just living, bouncing around in here. And then you build what I said, this hub and spoke model. So like we're all operating these systems. Like some of you have a system in your life. You traditionally show up late to things, right?
Yeah.
Just 10 minutes, fashionably late. That's just your system. You don't see yourself as a person who's punctual and on time and very respects people time. So you just turn up whenever. That's a system that you've already created. So your business, your life, it's already has systems built. It's just if I graded the quality of those systems out of 10, it's like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah. And as well, too, then we can get stuck in this trap of, well, I just don't have the time or the money to go and find the thing, right? So it's like, okay, well, I just got to make more jobs, right? You try and boil it down to a simplest form. But that's been the problem the last 3 years. And then you're going to look up and it's going to be October, November.
Yeah.
We're speaking to everybody in January here. It's going to be the end of the year and you're going to be like, okay, so my revenue grew, but holy crap, I am so burnt out. I need a vacation. I can't wait until the slow season. And I'm going to just take it off. I just need the time to take it off. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to go into the new year again, all gung-ho. And then again, the system in your mind is, I don't have enough.
Yeah.
So you either never have enough money or you never have enough time. And at the end of the day, it's just excuses.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, because if somebody is doing what you want and has what you want in your industry, it's not a matter that it can't be done. It's just you don't have the right information, community, resources, tools, and systems in order to go get it.
Yeah.
That gap, Dave, I would love to see some math. That gap is probably in the home service space is how big it is, taking everybody into consideration.
It's a lot.
That gap is probably the difference between this industry being $1 trillion and $5 trillion. Like no joke.
Yep. And the end of the day, if you're not going to take systems seriously in your business you own, like God's honest truth, you're better to just go get a job and work for somebody.
Yeah.
Because that is the power. They will make or break your business and therefore make or break your life.
Yeah, we can't stress how important.
And like, if you want to fight us on this, like share this episode with your spouse and just be like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're never around. You're working weekends. Well, American hustle culture. I need to hustle. I need to grind. Like, no, you don't. Like, I've built all 4 businesses, man. The first 2, I probably worked like 60 to 70 hours a week. The last 2, I'd say I've worked 40 to 50, like consistent. Like for working weekends, like for what it's worth, I can count the Sundays I've worked in 16 years on 2 hands, probably just working trade shows. And like, there's no reason. Evenings, no, I don't miss events. Shit doesn't just come up very rarely because I'm systematized, I'm organized. I'll share a quick funny story. A couple of guys, work colleagues of mine at Huge Convention. I came in late.
Buddy.
By design, but my plane was running like 3 or 4 hours late and I got in late, and the one guy I met on the first day, he's like, he was busting my balls. He's like, didn't you have a system around this? Or if your plane's running late, you'd still get on. So it's just like kind of funny, but I'm just like, yeah, maybe that's how he sees me, as someone, systematized, and that is what it is. But I think there's no end to where you can take systems to. And I don't want to go too big business too fast. But if you look at someone like Elon, man, running multiple companies, he's authored a book. You know, you were telling me he's top for Diablo in the world, I think. He is owning X, which is like the most visited news source, right? Like, it's just like the list goes on and on. I was reading an article.
9 kids, I think.
Last month, I was reading an article that said, you know, Elon's actually already been to Earth. This is his second time through. Yeah. So he's just like, he knows. It was just like kind of funny. But the guy has systems that would make me look like nothing. And so that's where we need to be, just borrowing pages out of people's books that are a little more systematized, because the personal life's as much as the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agreed. So if you take nothing away from this, hopefully you now know what a system is. And if you don't, rewatch this. You know, again, the base bones of what you need to create. But more importantly, we talked about the tangible benefits of revenue and profitability and cash flow and all that kind of stuff. But it's the intangible things that are harder to measure. It's the, what does more time mean for you in a long term? What does that mean when you're 90 and you're like, man, I was successful and I worked 30 hours a week and I had way more time with my family? Because no centurion, people 100 plus years old, has said, I wish I worked harder. They always say, I wish I would have spent more time with family. It's taking that little bit of wisdom that people pass down and implementing it now. And that is what a system can help you create in the real world, in the present moment. So if you found value on this, share the episode, share the podcast with a friend or somebody you think would benefit. As our challenge is, share it to your wife, see if she would agree or disagree, or your husband. Again, if you're a lady watching this, share it with your significant other, see if they would agree on this, because maybe you need to put a system in your relationship around seeing eye to eye more. Who knows? The systems can go endlessly on this. But if you want to figure out what we do here, what these systems we provide, if we can even provide them to you and your business, we help exterior, interior, landscaping, painting, plumbing, electrical, duct work, carpet cleaning, like the list goes on of individuals, pool maintenance, the list goes on with who we've helped.
I'll put you on the spot, man, for a system, because you were just showing me your phone. If someone says they've watched this far and they kind of see our stuff, how can HSBC help my business? How would you answer? What you've had that good. A few times.
Oh yeah, just a few times. My response is we most likely can't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that?
And the reason for that is we are looking for a very specific type of individual and a very specific type of business. And I think the stigma we wrestle with is that we just want to, you know, these greedy coaches, coaching coaches, you know, there's this whole stigma. I don't need a coach. Why the hell would I need a coach and all that kind of stuff? And it's just, they're just trying to take my money. This is how we approach coaching, Dave.
Yeah.
I really love this analogy. You pick a football team, a soccer team, whatever sport. We're the coaches. So which means we're the clipboard on the sidelines. We're the ones calling the plays. We're the ones making sure you're showing up and doing your film. We're making sure you're actually doing your training. We're making sure that your personal life is taken care of as well too. Again, systems provide a lot of this as well. Yeah. The only thing we can't control, Dave, is we can write the perfect play up.
Yeah. You got to do it.
You're what? Exactly. You're the one on the field snapping the ball. Doesn't matter what sport. A good play is a good play in any single sport. That's why we most likely can't help you, because most people are not willing to just have that humility, take that initial hit that, oh crap, I don't know everything, and implement on things that actually work, because it is going to require them to change a bit. That's where we don't work with everybody.
Yeah. I think, man, from my perspective, most people that come to us and they're qualified generally don't have an issue working hard, because they've usually built up. You said the average is 190K, we figured out. So like you need some chops of industriousness to quit your job and jump in and do that, right? But then it becomes about, well, you've put your ladder, I'll use a trades reference, you put your ladder against a wall and you've climbed up it and you've done work there and you got to 190 or whatever the revenue is, doesn't matter. We're just telling you, consider a different wall now to put your ladder on. If you took that same fervor in industriousness and go, and I'm the best window cleaner, and we put that in, and actually, what would happen if you actually applied business skills and systems on the same ladder, different wall? Let's climb up and down that for, you know, our initial investment 6 months, but most of our guys stay with us close to 2 years.
Yep.
So it's like, what would happen if you actually applied business skills and systems? That's all that we're saying.
Yeah. And again, systems, like we could rip on this endlessly. Like your systems helps you mitigate future risks. And it's so hard for us to be like, if your knees are hurting and your back's hurting in your 20s or 30s, what does that look like in your 40s? No, it's not going to happen until you're like, holy crap, I have to go get back surgery because I didn't actually systematize and put people in place.
Wow.
That's the impact it can have. So you save yourself present pain, you save yourself for future torment, and you also just have a better quality of life in between now and then.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win-win, which is the scenario we love here. So if you found value, share this episode, book a call, speak with us, speak with me, see if we can help you out. Most likely we can't. But Dave, always good on the podcast, man. Everybody take care. Have a great rest of 2025. Not 2024, 2025.
Got it.
I'll talk with you soon.
Peace.